The fall sun dipped low over Milltown, Ohio, casting a soft amber glow over the Walmart parking lot. The asphalt still held the day's heat, while the breeze teased the red and gold leaves clinging to trees at the lot's edge. It was the kind of small-town Friday night where folks picked up groceries after work and teenagers loitered around the soda machines, sipping on slushies and sharing stories they'd later swear were true. Sergeant Evan Price, 39, sat in his cruiser near the cart return, chewing the last of his spearmint gum while the police scanner squawked intermittently. He had 17 years on the force, a well-worn uniform, and a reputation as a stickler for order. Some called him old school. Others whispered problematic when he walked past. His track record was polished, his boots always gleamed, but behind closed doors, there were murmur citations that felt unnecessary, stops that never should have happened, and a coldness that made people of color grip their steering wheels a little tighter when he pulled in behind them. Across the lot, a woman leaned against the hood of a charcoal gray Toyota Camry, the front end angled slightly toward the store. Her name was Dr. Rachel Monroe. She was 44, sharp-featured with high cheekbones and eyes that didn't miss much. Her hair was swept up, a few curls escaping around her face. Dressed in dark jeans, a soft brown leather jacket, and comfortable boots, she looked like someone who knew exactly who she was and didn't need to prove it to anyone. She laughed in her phone, warmth in her voice as she chatted with her younger brother about Thanksgiving plans. She was off duty, just picking up a few essentials after wrapping up a long week at the Bureau's Columbus field office. What Sergeant Price didn't know what he didn't care to even imagine was that Rachel Monroe was a deputy assistant director with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, with 21 years of service behind her and a resume that included everything from hostage negotiations in foreign embassies to dismantling organized crime rings in Detroit. But Price didn't see a respected federal agent. He saw a black woman leaning on a car that didn't quite fit the stereotype he was used to in his beat. Something about her ease, her confidence, made him squint. His radar, shaped more by prejudice than intuition, started pinging. He clicked his seatbelt off. Rachel noticed the cruiser door swing open out of the corner of her eye, but she kept talking. The sharp thud of boots on pavement echoed as Price approached, one hand resting near his holstered sidearm, the other already rehearsing the confrontation he thought he was about to control. "Excuse me, ma'am," he called, voice already tinged with authority. "Need to see some ID. This is private property. You're loitering." Rachel turned slowly, her expression calm but direct. "Officer, I'm waiting for my husband. I'm not doing anything illegal, and there's no cause to demand ID. I won't be providing it." He bristled. Most people fumbled or complied by now. His tone sharpened. "I'm telling you what's needed. ID. Now, or I'll be detaining you for obstruction." A few nearby shoppers paused. One woman, pushing a stroller, slowed her steps. A man fumbling with soda cans in his trunk glanced over, sensing something off. Rachel ended her call, tucked her phone into her purse, and squared her shoulders. "Officer, I'm a private citizen standing beside my vehicle. There is no reasonable suspicion. I'm not legally obligated to provide identification." "You don't tell me the law," Price snapped, his posture aggressive now. "Step away from the vehicle. Hands where I can see them." More heads turned. A teenager a few spots down pulled out his phone. The tension in the air crystallized. Rachel, steady as stone, stepped off the hood with composure. "I'm reaching into my purse," she said clearly, her voice firm but non-threatening. Price's hand dropped to his holster. His thumb hovered over the snap. She pulled out a leather wallet, flipped it open, and raised it in the fading sunlight. The gold badge gleamed like fire under the parking lot lights. The blue FBI seal stared back at him, and her credentials were unmistakable. Deputy Assistant Director Rachel Monroe, Federal Bureau of Investigation. "You're way out of line." It hit Price like a blow to the chest. His mouth parted slightly, all his earlier fire suddenly gone. He blinked. The badge, the name, the implication, it all came crashing down. I didn't know. It was just a routine," he stammered. "No," Rachel cut him off. "It wasn't. You approached me without cause. You escalated without basis. And let's be honest, if I looked like someone else, you wouldn't have stepped out of that cruiser. He was floundering now. We've had issues with people loitering, it's protocol. You mean black people shopping while existing? She said, voice sharp and cutting. That your protocol? She pulled her phone back out and calmly dialed. This is Deputy Director Monroe. I have an officer in Milltown, Ohio badge number 6718, who just attempted an unlawful detainment. I need a supervisor dispatched immediately. By now, several shoppers were filming. A child's voice could be heard on camera saying, "She's FBI," while someone else muttered, "He messed up big." 5 minutes later, red and blue lights flashed again. A second cruiser skidded into the lot, and out stepped Captain Raul Mendoza, 52, a veteran known for his no-nonsense leadership and deep sighs whenever Price's name came up in meetings. "What's this about, Evan?" Mendoza asked, glancing between the woman with the badge and the pale-faced officer beside her. Price tried to spin it, mumbling about routine checks and uncooperative behavior. Mendoza raised a hand, silencing him. "She's FBI, Evan." Rachel laid it all out with professional precision. Mendoza's face darkened as she spoke. He listened, jaw tight, then turned to Price and said only, "Go. Now, wait at the station. We'll talk there." Rachel gave one final glance. "I expect this won't go unaddressed." "It won't," Mendoza assured her. She drove away without another word, her taillights disappearing into the dusk. But the damage was already done. By morning, the video clips had exploded on social media. A local news station picked it up. Then a national outlet. Ohio cop Harris's senior FBI agent in Walmart lot. The footage was damning Price's tone, her calm, the badge reveal, his stumble, the growing crowd. It spread like wildfire. The police department's phones rang off the hook. Emails flooded in. A protest formed outside City Hall by sunset. At 9:03 a.m. that Saturday, Police Chief Hannah Drayton, a 30-year department veteran with a headache that wouldn't quit, summoned Price to her office. "You've embarrassed this department," she said flatly. "You were warned before. Warned repeatedly. This time, you crossed a federal line." "I didn't know," he pleaded. She didn't look. "Stop. Right there." Her voice sliced like ice. Internal Affairs opened an investigation. Rachel's formal report was submitted to the Department of Justice, attached to a growing pile of similar incidents Price had been part of each previously brushed aside, each now glowing under a new, unforgiving spotlight. On November 4th, Sergeant Evan Price was terminated from a force. No pensión. No ceremony. Just a brief statement at a press conference. "This department condemns racial profiling," Chief Drayton said, "and we are committed to rebuilding the trust that Officer Price damaged." Price tried to plead his case to anyone who would listen, but no one did. His face was too familiar. His excuses too hollow. He disappeared into obscurity, picking up odd jobs, changing towns, eventually finding work as a night guard at a storage facility. As for Rachel Monroe, she said nothing more publicly. But within the Bureau, her story was whispered between young agents as both warning and inspiration. "Hold your ground," they'd say. "Remember Monroe." And in Milltown, the police department instituted its first comprehensive bias training initiative. Community outreach expanded. Officers walked neighborhoods again. Some grumbled, but others listened. A few even changed. Rachel, meanwhile, kept doing what she'd always done, quietly serving justice, one case at a time. The parking lot incident faded from headlines, but never from memory. Because sometimes the most powerful act isn't a gun drawn or a fist raised. Sometimes it's a badge revealed at just the right moment held by a woman who refused to shrink.